and former Carolina Panther, and his father, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain. A 9-year NFL veteran with the New York Giants and University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is the Miller's Edge.
And welcome into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Todd 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing great. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Man, it was definitely an interesting weekend, Chase. I don't know if it affected you or not, but these storms, man, did you obviously you witnessed them, you were here, but it's kind of crazy. It was sunny one minute, then the next it was literally like coming down hard. And I don't even know if you knew this, but there are some areas a little bit like outside of Tuscaloosa that actually had some damage due to the storms. Now, obviously, it wasn't like tornado type storms, but definitely was strong enough wind and I guess of a storm to cause some damage. So I hope everybody's property and stuff is all good. But anyway, we did have an eventful weekend here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama softball hosted a regional once again. They come out of it successful. Speaking of the weather tried to delay it. It didn't try. It actually did delay it. The game ended up starting around 4:30, but that did not affect the Crimson Tide too much. They were able to go out there, beat Virginia Tech to advance to yet another super regional. So shout out to Coach Murph and his squad. Got to be exciting for them. They will head to Oklahoma, which obviously we all know. Oklahoma is a very, very, very talented team. You talk about Oklahoma with softball. Chase, kind of like Alabama football, man. You talk about their dominance in the sport, man. They have definitely been very, very successful. So have a big task on our hands ahead of us, but we got the faith, and we definitely going to be supporting our girls. I think game 1 will start for Alabama Friday at 4 p.m. You can catch it on ESPN2. Game 2 is scheduled for 2 p.m. Saturday, and then game 3, if necessary, is to be determined on Sunday. So, again, number 15, Alabama will travel to Norman for the Super Regional. So, best of luck to them. We'll probably try to get Gray Robertson, my buddy from the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and Everwood Postgame Party Show over on the show again to break that down. Obviously, we've been talking a lot of softball with him. Love getting him on here, getting his insight, man. He does a heck of a job. If you guys weren't able to attend the game or you didn't watch it on TV, hopefully you guys listen to the radio call that he does, because he does one heck of a job. So we'll definitely plan on trying to get him to hop on here, the Miller's Edge, to break that down for us before that takes place. Baseball dropped their series to Florida, but they do sorry, I had something just pop up. They do play tomorrow, though, in the SEC baseball tournament up in Hoover, which I should go ahead and tell you guys. We will not be live on air, to my understanding, tomorrow, because that game does start at 9:30. It's expected to probably go through the time that we do this show. So instead of listening to the Miller's Edge tomorrow, and Gary Harris show, you will be hearing the baseball game as Alabama will face Missouri in Session 1, Game 1 of the first round in the SEC baseball tournament, again up in Hoover. So just keep that in mind. Maybe we will go live on YouTube during that, just to hop on here for a little bit. But I guess I'll keep you guys updated on that. I haven't fully decided that. So just be heads up. Just a heads up for that one. That Alabama will be facing Missouri tomorrow during the time of this show, and Gary Harris. So that's what you will be hearing live on the radio, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Some other notes and news things, Chase, that I've seen. New documentary that's coming out for Alabama football. Obviously, they did the one last year. I think you guys like that. Obviously, some people started saying, all right, man, we feel like we've had enough access. You went from not getting any access to now you get all the access you desire pretty much. So they obviously covered the season. A lot of people like that documentary. Well, they've got something else coming out. This one is on SEC Network, a little bit different. The other one was with Fox, but it will premiere today, actually, Monday the 19th, 6 p.m. Central Time. And I'll probably just let that clip run. There's a little trailer for it, about a minute and 50 seconds. I'll let that play when we come back. But it looks like it's going to be pretty good, and it's going to be covering Alabama's spring practice. So up close and personal look at spring practice. So obviously you got the up close and personal look during the season. Now you get to see what Kalen DeBoer's process looks like during spring ball. So we'll discuss that. I want to get y'all's thoughts on that. Are you excited to see that? Are you excited to go behind the scenes with that? Are you a little bit tired of that stuff? Let us know. Plus, some other things that we've seen. Well, you've got a whole cast of guys from the football team using this time wisely. Obviously, they are on break right now, but they will be returning here in about a week or so. Some of these guys, though, are showing that they're not just on vacation. They're putting in some work. There was a post by Austin Mack that showed not only him, but all the other two quarterbacks. So all the quarterbacks training together out in Vegas, it appears, with some Raiders players as well. So good to see those guys putting in that work during this time. As usual, I got to remind you guys, 205-342-9904 is the number for the phone lines. We want to hear from you, get y'all's thoughts on everything that is going on. Again, you can always leave us an app message on the Tide 100.9 app, or you can always drop us an app message or a chat message here on YouTube, because, again, we are streaming live on YouTube as well at the Miller's Edge. If you prefer the visual, check us out. We're on YouTube as well as Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. That being said, we got to hit a timeout when we come back. We kick things off on this Manic Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
Don't buy your new or pre-owned Mercedes-Benz from anywhere other than Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. Their local team provides a 5-star buying experience and 5-star service. Shop local, MercedesofTuscaloosa.com, or go see them at 3200 Skyland Boulevard East, Tuscaloosa.
Under the biggest cactus in town, Taco Casa. Quality is number one. You got to start with a good quality product, but it's got to be at a good value to the customers.
Everything is about quality.
You just can't beat the quality, taste, and value.
And it's because we take pride in providing you with the best.
Good customer service and good food, good quality.
We want to make sure that we give that to them each and every time they come and visit us.
The sense of pride that we have in the quality, the consistency of our food carries over to everything we do in the stores. That's Taco Casa.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to Bundle Deal Days at AutoZone.
Well, I do need a bundle of things.
When you bundle, you save.
Do I save if I bundle oil with an oil filter?
Save up to $12 on that bundle.
What about brake pads and rotors?
Bundle those and the brake pads are free.
Can't save more than free.
You can save on hundreds of deals during Bundle Deal Days. Ends June 2nd at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Duralast brake pads only.
Memorial Day savings are here at the Home Depot. So take your kitchen to the next level with up to 35% off, plus up to an extra $450 off select appliances like LG. Plan your get-togethers with an LG refrigerator you can count on for years to come at the Home Depot. And with the connected ThinQ app, you'll know if the door is left open and when to change the filter. Spend less time worrying this Memorial Day with savings on LG, America's most reliable appliance brand, at the Home Depot. Offer valid May 15th through June 4th, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Hey, Bama fans, this is quarterback Jalen Milroe for my friends at Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram. Before you shop anywhere else for a Dodge Ram truck, a Jeep, a Dodge Challenger, or a Dodge Charger, shop local. An amazing selection of new and pre-owned vehicles are on the lot now. Go see for yourself at 550 Skyland Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa, or you can shop online at TuscaloosaCDJR.com. At Tuscaloosa Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, you pick it out and we'll work it out. Roll Tide!
Everyone has a fave Wendy's Frosty flavor. And when you're choosing from chocolate or vanilla, it's not that hard. But now there's all new Frosty Swirls and Frosty Fusions. So try picking your fave from Oreo Brownie Fusion, Pop-Tarts Strawberry Fusion, Strawberry Swirl, Brownie Batter Swirl, Caramel Swirl, and Caramel Crunch Fusion.
Oh, yeah, I am on. Sorry.
Not so easy now.
My mic was on.
For a fresh way to Frosty,
how are you today?
Gotta be Wendy's.
Participating U.S.
Hope everybody is well. If you guys are just joining, make sure you guys drop us a like. That always helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't. Again, we do this Monday through Friday. We are live on the radio, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. That's the show. But we brought it back over to our YouTube channel, and that's where we're streaming live here. So hope everybody's doing well. Welcome in. And again, if you got any comments, questions, anything like that, drop them in the chat. We'd love to get those and read those live on air too. But we've got a couple calls lined up already, so we'll probably start with the phone lines here. Just Peachy, thanks for asking. Of course, of course. Of course. All right.
25 cents per gallon on your
15 seconds left. But just a heads up, we might be live here on YouTube tomorrow, but radio wise, we will they'll be covering the baseball game. But maybe we'll hop on here.
cents per gallon bonus.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Don't you guys forget about the Good Feet Store. I know you hear me talk about them all the time, but rightfully so. These things are like magic. They're premium arch supports that are designed to eliminate and alleviate all types of pain in just 4 short weeks. You got to check them out if you're in Tuscaloosa. Midtown Village is where you can find them right off of McFarland Boulevard. You can't miss it. Walk-ins are welcome, or you can always go to their website, which you can see right here on the live stream, goodfeet.com. You can type in your zip or postal code, find the store nearest to you. Again, they are scattered across the entire country, but in Alabama, Tuscaloosa, again, right off of McFarland Boulevard in Midtown Village. Great store, great people, first-class customer service across the board. There's also stores in Birmingham. They've got one down in South Alabama. They just opened one up. They've been sending out some mailers. It's got me featured on there, so make sure you get that one and bring it into the Good Feet Store. I think they got a coupon on there too as well. But again, these it's a personalized system, 3-step system that's designed to get rid of all that pain. It's going to strengthen and maintain and relax your feet, which in turn is going to knock out all that pain. If you've been dealing with foot pain, knee pain, back pain, hip pain, you name it, these arch supports are designed to get rid of all of that. It's going to alleviate all that. So check them out again today. You can't miss out, right? Because it's try before you buy. There's nothing to lose, right? Just go on in there and check them out. And I promise you will be very pleased, and you're going to live a much healthier, much pain-free life. So check them out again. That is the Good Feet Store, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. All right, Chase, I know we got a few callers. I definitely want to get to those. But real quick, before we do that, I want to play this preview real quick that had come out for this this documentary that airs tonight. Again, it's called All In, I believe. It's going behind the scenes of Alabama's spring practice like never before. So if you guys are big on getting the behind the scenes glimpse on kind of what's all going on, this is your chance. So I'm going to go ahead and run this clip real quick and let you guys hear this little preview that they had for All In that features Alabama during this spring.
To a college football playoff.
I hope that you guys remember what this feels like, whether it's the season falling short or even this moment right now.
And the season will end with a 9-4 record for the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
You guys that come back, it's got to be stronger and bigger and stronger than ever before. Ever. Remember this, because I'm going to bring it back to this moment right here. Other moments that we had.
Coming back this season, kind of what was the motivation? How are you motivated by last year?
Man, we hungry.
Whether it's learning schemes or just our processes. And then there's a deeper understanding of what we just went through and what we need to do to be better.
Last year, we had our opportunity to, get through a season. There's no getting through anything anymore.
Bama's the standard of college football, and if you go to Bama, then you must be something.
There is confrontation that has to happen, and there's things that have to be said, and there's truths that have to be said. And coming off last season, which was unacceptable, there was a lot of truths that had to be said to these guys. And
I think the number one word that you can use is trust. And also, I think one of the beauties of the portal, you ultimately end up with the guys that really want to be here.
Yeah, I think it's just a big brotherhood, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. All feeling, all seeing, and we just trust each other.
And there you have it. So that is the preview trailer for All In. That premieres tonight, 6 p.m. Central Time, I believe, SEC Network. So look pretty good to me, Chase. I mean, for you guys listening on the radio, you guys got to hear it if you're on the YouTube stream. That's why I urge you guys to check it out if you guys like the visual. We watched it over here. But, Chase, what'd you think about that, man? That grabbed your attention. You think you're going to check it out?
Heck yeah, it gave me goosebumps. I was like, okay. I was talking to Jaisha, one of our producers here, and I was like, it's so strange to see so many documentaries coming out. And I'm like, and people can correct me, but if Nick Saban was the head coach, I don't know if there was any documentaries that came out or any snippets or anything like that. So it's just kind of adjusting the scene, which is cool. I get an in-depth behind the scenes look of what Alabama football is from an outsider's view. But I'm like, wow, like what's next?
I know. It is kind of crazy. Now they did hire a guy that I can't remember his name, but he literally is a film guy. He's done several films and worked with production, things like that. And so it makes sense that they are leaning more into this. I know we've kind of discussed this, on the show and gone back and forth. Initially, I think everybody was like fired up, like, man, we've never got to see, this type of access with Alabama football, let alone like, you know what I mean? Like, the season, the spring, I mean, everything. I mean, they're showing everything. And then on the other spectrum of, some people are like, all right, man, we've kind of had enough. We wanted to get back to focus on football. But I'll say this, man, like, I'm rerunning the video here on the stream, just minus audio, but getting these guys to come sit down and do a little interview thing for the production, right? It's not a distraction. In my opinion, I don't think it's some huge distraction. I don't think it's really bothering. Like, I get why people would say, hey man, we just want to lock in and get our guys focused on playing ball, which they are doing that. But I don't really see a problem with it. We, to be fair, we used to do stuff like this. To me, this isn't any different than like we used to have media availability every Monday for sure. Might have been, it was several days during the week, but what it was, so meetings started at 2, but our media availability used to be at like 12. So what would happen is, like, if you got called up to do media, they'd call us up, like Alex Thompson would call us up at like 12. Go up there, we go put a polo on, go step in the media room, go sit there and do interviews 15, 20 minutes. To me, how is that different than getting these guys to come sit down and do this for this doc? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's hurt anything. Plus, like, we had ESPN out there at times, like fall camp, like they would, cover us and do something. So, I mean, and to me, I don't think that we went undefeated that year. It wasn't until the national championship game that we lost. Okay, we weren't undefeated that year, but regular season, we were undefeated. You get what I'm saying? And then the last part I'd add to this, Chase, is that, to be fair, in this day and age, man, in terms of recruiting, I mean, I think this helps. I think you kind of have to do stuff like this. These guys want to see. I mean, matter of fact, I'll give you an example. Like Keon Keeley, when he was coming out of high school, he watched me playing here. And so he reached out to me on social media, and we started talking and texting that away. And one of the main things he's asking, what's it really like? So, like, tell me, like, what's a typical day like, playing football at Alabama? Like, what can I expect? Guys want to know that stuff. And I think this is a good way for them to see it. Obviously, the fans can see it, but it also works because, potential recruits and things like that, obviously they can come on visits and see for themselves. But say time doesn't allow it, they don't have that opportunity in the moment. Watching stuff like this gives them a glimpse on what to expect. It also, it broadens exposure. You're talking about NIL. If we're wanting guys to get legitimate NIL deals, this is a phenomenal way to do that because you're broadening the exposure that they're getting, right? This is being aired on SEC Network. Businesses and people are going to see their faces. I can't tell you guys how many times people had come up to me and say, oh, man, nice to finally put a name with a face. Like, oh, we watch you all the time. But, with football, you guys are wearing helmets. So half the time we don't know what you guys really look like underneath the helmet, right? Now, with all the access and the documentaries, people are doing, getting an opportunity to put a name with a face, and it makes you a lot more recognizable. It makes your brand and your status grow for those legitimate NIL deals. So those are all the positives that I'm pulling from this, Chase. Obviously, if I want to sit there and say, oh, I mean, I want guys going to go to the old school thing and just focus only on football. But the reality was there's always going to be other things going outside of football. You never just do football 100%. Something like this, I don't think it's hurting anything. But I'm curious what y'all's thought was. I thought the The preview looked good. I know we got to hit a timeout, and we're going to go to the phone lines, but we'll talk about some of the things that were said. I really like what Coach Ballou had to say about, hey, man, sometimes, you got to have those hard conversations. You got to let those hard truths out. And I love hearing that in general, but number two, hearing that from him, because the strength coach is the guy who's with the team like 24/7. Like, talk about during the summer when the coaches are on the road, on vacation, they're not allowed, they're not permitted, the same level of access to the team. That is the guy who is, right? And so with him having that mindset that, hey, man, we had to just get real, especially after last season, and basically let some hard truths out, that made me feel pretty good, man. I like what I'm hearing. So good stuff. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we're going to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We already got some folks lining up. Excited to hear what you guys got to say. Again, you can always drop us an app message with your response, questions right there, or in the chat, and we can discuss it live right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
The Alabama Securities Commission protects you from financial fraud. Anyone asking you for investment money must be licensed. You're careful.
All right, let's see. What's going on, everybody? We got Tay, Southern, Yakenji. Is that Latoya? Latoya, I'm sorry. My monitor's kind of wide, so I had to look over there. Good to have all y'all in here, man. What'd y'all think about that preview? I'll let it run again. Hopefully I don't have to worry about any copyright. Something tells me they're probably going to try to copyright this, but it's all good. Who cares? We'll let it run. Yeah, I'll turn the sound on for you so you can hear it.
Falling short, or even this moment right now.
And the season will end with a 9-4 record for the Crimson Tide of Alabama.
Guys that come back, it's got to be stronger and bigger and stronger than ever before. Ever. Remember this. So I'm going to bring it back to this moment right here. Other moments that we had.
Coming back this season, kind of what was the motivation? How are you motivated by last year?
Man, we hungry.
I kind of like this part where they didn't really say much. It just had them just kind of really demonstrating the focus, the lock in, the seriousness of it. At least that's what it's illustrating.
There's learning schemes or just our processes, and then there's a deeper understanding of what we just went through and what we need to do to be better.
Last year, okay, we had our opportunity to get through a season. There's no getting through anything.
That's a ball right there. I like that. I mean, obviously, I don't like the fact that it's kind of like, last year we were getting through, but it sounded good. It sounded good.
Bama's the standard of college football, and if you go to Bama, then you must be something.
There is confrontation that has to happen, and there's.
This is my part
that have to be said.
That I like. I'm not on here.
Last season, which was unacceptable. There was a lot of truths that had to be said to these guys.
That makes me feel that was the part I was talking about. I was referencing that part. Because you got to have those hard truths, man. I mean, you guys heard my dad come on here, man. You talk about hard truths. He's one of the ones that he'll set you straight. And I think that's okay sometimes. I mean, people might not want to hear it, man, but I think after last year, I think that definitely was necessary. Definitely was necessary to have some of that. And hopefully it's not just coming from him. Hopefully some of these guys on the team also are, dishing out some of that hard truth, which I'd imagine so. That's what they need, though.
9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Again, if you are joining us here on YouTube, shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys. If you haven't checked us out yet, at the Miller's Edge on YouTube, you can always watch us do the show live. We can play stuff during the breaks. We also can discuss things as well. So just a heads up with that. All right, let's go to the phone lines. 205-342-9904. We got our buddy Ricky up first out in California. Ricky, welcome in.
What's going on, guys?
Oh, man, can't complain, man. Another day, another dollar. What's up?
All right, so because I know you guys got the trailer and all that, and like I didn't really have any crazy thoughts about it. I just thought it was like something else. I like the Fox series, if that means anything. But
yeah,
let me kind of like ask you something. Like, so like I'll start off by like saying something that I said last year after the Vandy game.
Mm-hmm.
I said that, you know, after we lost, I was telling, and everybody was mad at Kane Womack and all of that, and, you know, essentially calling for his job. I said that you didn't know anything, you didn't know more than Kane Womack, and I kind of got killed for it. So then you look at Georgia's situation, because they kind of want Mike Bobo gone over there. And I heard Pate kind of challenge like Georgia fans, just like, well, I dare you to like, you know, tell Mike Bobo what you think actually happens on the football field. So for me, like, I guess my question is, where do you think the disconnect with fans and honestly media talking heads too? Like, where do you think the disconnect is from like us and media heads to like what actually goes on like on a football field and like with head coaches? Because in my mind, I'm just like, man, we all just fans and we have an idea of what we think happens in college football, but like these are actual Division I coaches that like we're talking about and like we're calling for like their jobs and stuff. Like, and I get it, like, you know, you don't get the outcome you want at the end of the game, but like I just don't think we still know more. So I asked you that because you actually played at the highest level and like you've been there and you kind of know what's on the field. But like the average person or media talking head couldn't tell you what's actually happening like during an actual football play. Like they only kind of see like the outcome. So like, where does that disconnect you think kind of like happen between fans, media, like the like people with large platforms like JD or Pay or anybody like that compared to like what's actually happening like inside the locker room or on the field like during games?
I'll say it like this, Ricky. I think the disconnect is that everybody has an opinion, but nowadays everybody has a platform. You talk about social media and how it's grown. I mean, anybody can literally create a YouTube channel, Twitter account, X account, whatever, and go live and give their opinions, make shows. And again, I'm not saying that to discredit or disrespect anybody by any means. Like that's like I encourage people to do that kind of stuff. It's fun. However, sometimes I think, you know, it kind of makes people think like, oh, they, you know, just because they're doing something, they know. I'll be honest with you, man. Even like the worst coaches know twice as much than anybody that's on the fan side of things. That's just a fact. And I'm humble enough to tell you, even though I played the game, I'm not going to sit there and act like I know better than some of these coaches myself. And I'm a former player, right? I played outside linebacker. I studied, you know, Coach Saban's defense. Even though I played outside linebacker, I knew other positions. I had to. I knew coverages. So even though I know football a lot, there's always going to be different schemes. There's always going to be different philosophies, different ways of doing things. And I'm always going to be mindful and respectful of what a coach might do. However, I might not agree with it. I might think there's other ways to do it. Just like there's times last year I thought there was other ways that I felt would have been better. Again, they're paying Kane Womack, over $1 million to go call that defense, to run his system, to do what he thinks works best. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. With that being said, I'm not saying some other people can't be right. I hear people that, are tweeting or talking online that have opinions that might not be former players or coach or whatever, and they're totally spot on. They make a lot of sense. I align with what they think. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's kind of like whoever I don't know who you said it, but like if the coach is getting paid to do something, man, you just gotta trust and respect it. That don't mean you agree with everything he does, and there's gonna be times that they're wrong, right? Like that's a fact. Coaches aren't 100% either, but I would trust that the guy who's been doing it for years, that's been in those, film room, been in the film room, been in the locker room, doing all that stuff. I would trust that he at least has some idea of what he's doing. His philosophy might be different than what I would want to see or what some other coaches might do, but you can't deny the fact that there's a reason that he's in that position, right? They don't just go. If that was the case, any high school coach would just get these jobs. It's not true. Now I will say that there's such thing as kind of like a buddy system. The NFL, a lot of people just hire who they know and stuff like that, but that's another conversation for a different day. But the disconnect, in my opinion, Ricky, is that I think some people just they're going to believe what they want to believe. I mean, we've seen that with different opinions on players. We see that with different opinions on coaches. That's just how life works, right? It's no different than politics or any other thing, right? People have different ways of viewing things and believing things. But when it comes to football, man, I mean, there's different ways, like I said, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, right? I mean, some people believe in playing more man coverage. Some coaches are more in on zone defenses. Some like to bring a lot more pressure. Some like to be more conservative and drop 8. I mean, it's always going to vary. And different things are more successful, you know what I mean, than others. And sometimes it's kind of a flip of a coin. So it's kind of hard for me to, I can't sit there and tell you like what way is right, what way is wrong. I mean, you see people win Super Bowl one type of system,
like
another,
But my thing is like this, right? And I'll just use myself as an example because I'll at the end of the day, that's all I am, just a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't if I told you like I don't like the way Kane Womack or Nick Sheridan like has been calling plays, like you could easily just ask me like, well, Ricky, what would you do? And I kind of would be like, well, I don't have an answer because I don't get paid for that. And that's kind of the cop out that I see for like a lot of people once you kind of get on their case about it, which they aren't wrong, but it's also just kind of like, well, if you don't know and you think you have the answers, like why kind of bring it up? And it's not really just fans that I'm kind of going at either. It's people like remember last week I kind of went at JD Pickell or like sometimes I like challenge Josh Tate at a lot of stuff, even though like a lot of things he says like I somewhat agree with, but like it's still like a disconnect there because they talk as if, or I think we all kind of talk as if we've been doing this for 20-something years because we watch the sport. But I couldn't tell you like what's going on like during this play, like what's the scheme or the coverage or anything like that, because I have like absolutely no idea. So like at least for me, I know where my disconnect is. For other people, I just don't get how they're lost in their disconnect.
Well, I think number one, they have opinions, but number two, I think it's here's the thing. So there's like different layers to it, right? Like if someone's saying, let's bring up last year, right? A lot of people criticize Nick Sheridan at times. If they're saying stuff like, "Oh, we need to run the ball," or Kane Womack, right? If they're saying, let's start with Sheridan. If they're saying, "Hey, man, we need to run the ball more," I agree with that, right? That's more of a that's a general statement, which they're right on. But the thing is, though, like you said, if you really dive into it, I guarantee if you ask like Sheridan why he's calling what he's calling, he's going to be able to give you more of an explanation than the person that's just saying, "Oh, we need to run the ball more." Does that make sense? Even though that person is probably right, yeah, we definitely need to run the ball more. Trust me, Nick Sheridan knows you need to run the football to set up third and short. You need to run the football to take pressure. He knows that stuff, but there obviously is a reason that he believes why he's calling certain plays, if that makes sense. So that's the only thing I would add. Like, people definitely are going to be, right when they say stuff like, "Oh, they need to run the ball more," or like when we talked about defense last year, like, what was one of the complaints about? Definitely missed tackles or like getting off the field on third down.
The 5-2-5 or 2-5-2 defense. Or
the 4-2-5. Oh yeah, the whole 4-2-5 thing. But see, like that's an example where I didn't. Yeah, well, that's an example when like people were saying that, but I would try to challenge them. Tell me why y'all think this 4.25, or tell me what you think about the 4.25, like where you're coming up with this. And I always would immediately tell them, like, even though like I preferably would base out of something more of like a 3-4, just have that type of defense as a base, because that's what I was raised in. That's what I know. I like that better. The people that were always screaming 4.25 won't work. You can't stop the run. Anytime I'd ask them, explain that to me, they couldn't. And I could always explain to them why the way they're thinking about it is not the way it truly is. So there's going to be different layers to it, right? These coaches are obviously going to know X's and O's better than the rest of, everybody else, because that's literally what they get paid for, right?
Right.
But that's why I just urge people just to, like, it's totally okay to have an opinion, to have a perspective. It's totally okay to be critical, but just always remember that there's a reason these people are getting paid to do it. And there's always going to be some type of rhyme or reason why they're doing it. But I'm not saying like you can't criticize people. I mean, that's part of the fan experience. Like, and these coaches know like they sign up for that. You know what I mean? So I think it goes.
Yeah,
both
but
ways.
I think you can criticize. I think you can criticize people, but I think if you do decide to criticize someone, you should at least try to get an understanding.
Oh, absolutely, I agree 100%.
Like, why are you doing that? Like,
no, I agree 100%.
I can definitely say like, well, yeah, we should have ran the ball, but then like I'll talk to you and or somebody else or your dad, or I could ask Nick Sheridan, and you all will tell me something like, well, we've had problems with our O-line for like 3 years now, and we're just kind of working around that. And like, but we'll ignore, if it's not something if it's not an answer that we're looking for, we'll ignore that and just kind of like, well, no, this to me makes more sense as to why I'm mad at the result of a football game than the logic that you just gave me. So that's my thing. Like, it's just kind of weird like that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's bad coaches. There's bad decisions. I mean, everybody's human. It's just I agree 100% with what you're saying, though. Like, it's all right to be critical, but just, also be humble enough to have some reason. Like, all right, this is probably what he's thinking, or this is what he thought in that situation, or maybe he just, made a mistake. I mean, nobody's perfect. And football it's tough, man, because again, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. And things are so different. People throw different stuff at you. You got to be able to adjust. And trust me, the job of a coach is really difficult, man. I mean, it's not easy by any means. That's why I try not to like, some people feel more comfortable, going directly at them. Me personally, like, I've been in the locker room, I played. I can only imagine, like, I'm like, I got to remember my job and go out there and execute. But I'm thinking from like a coaching perspective, like, it's not as easy as it seems, man. You got to work with the personnel that you got. You got to match up with what the team is running. You got to know your strengths, your weaknesses, try to put your guys in the best position to be successful. It's pretty tough, but that's why you get paid a lot of money.
Well, for you, before you put that like bad coach tag on somebody, what all like for you have to like kind of go wrong before you even, because football, like especially as a head coach, it's so many things like that's happening on and off the field, inside the facility, off season, like recruiting, like all of that. Like, at what point before all of that kind of collapses on you, like what has to kind of go like wrong for you to put like that bad coach tag on someone?
Yeah, really good question, Ricky. I would say this. I mean, number one, I'm not just going to go off of one game, a few games, or even really just one season. I'm going to give them time, right? Number two, I'm going to look at all the factors. I'm going to look at the personnel that they're working with. I'm going to look at maybe a schedule, look at who they're playing. I'm going to look at everything. But really, I think the biggest indicator for me is nobody's going to be perfect, but how do you adjust? If you continue doing the same thing that's not providing, positive results, to me, you're starting to lean in the direction of being a bad coach. If you're not, adjusting to your personnel, if you're not changing things up, if you're seeing that, hey, man, we're getting gashed this way and I'm being stubborn, I'm continuously running what I want to run, and it's not working, those are indicators of being a bad coach. So that, to me, is how I would judge it. Like I said, were there some shortcomings last year? Sure. Would I say that the guys we had were like bad coaches? No. I mean, I think there's definitely some room for improvement, 100%. I think Nick Sheridan, I'll use him as an example. got put in position. He wasn't hired to be the offensive coordinator at the University of Alabama. He was hired to be the tight end coach. He just got promoted to be the offensive coordinator when Ryan Grubb left. So I'm giving him a little bit of grace. Might have been put in a position that he wasn't fully prepped or ready for. So I definitely give him grace with that. Kane Womack, the numbers are good numbers. Were there things that I would do different if I was him, that I feel like he had a lack of adjustments made? Sure. But he also found ways to force turnovers. He also found ways to have the best defense since 2017. So you got to respect that. So that being said, yeah, I mean, there's always going to be things I think guys can clean up and improve, but that's typically how I would say it.
I'll even take it kind of further and say, like, before I even put that bad coach tag on someone, like I probably need to see a few more teams, because I think coaches also can get jobs where it just doesn't really fit. Like, I didn't like Michigan State for Nick Saban, or Tennessee for Lane, or USC for Lane. Like, I just think before you get to like that, like, this person should be fired, or this is just a bad coach. Like, I just think that it's like within the career like aspect of it. Like, for me, I'm like, most of these great coaches that we just keep like going on about, they've had like time to like go to either program or go to the NFL, come back. Like, they've gotten like experience under their belt, and we didn't just crown them at the beginning like we kind of do in, I won't even just say football, but the sports world in general today. Like, because we kind of like live in a time where it's just like, if you're not successful and you're at this big organization or program, it's just like, well, you're an automatic failure. Like, I just, if Lane could easily say, or he could leave Ole Miss not winning anything, take a job at Florida, and win there, and all of a sudden he's just this great coach. And in my opinion, it's just like, well, no, he's always been like this good coach. He just didn't, make it to the promised land like that, and everybody else deemed him like a bad coach, which that kind of sucks, especially in like college football.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you got to be patient. You got to give guys time, and really just see if they're making improvements each year. I mean, it's no different than a player, right? I mean, I just think, if they're trending downward, right, obviously you can kind of say, oh, they might not be the guy. But if they're, they start here one year, that's kind of like the floor, then they keep getting better each and every year. I mean, that's obviously a positive sign. Like I said, it's kind of tough, Ricky, but at the end of the day, man, I mean, I think everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to be able to offer their perspective. Doesn't mean one person's right, another person's wrong. Things are going to vary, but most of the time, I'm going to put, I'm at least going to hear what the coach has to say, because again, he's getting paid a lot of money to do that, and he didn't just stumble across that job. Yeah,
and you played before, so like that's
yeah, no, and even though I will say, like, I take pride in my knowledge of the game, because I spent years literally, doing it, studying it, learning from the best in Coach Saban, playing at the highest level. Like, I definitely, I appreciate that experience, and I treat with pride. But I'm humble enough to say this, Ricky, that there's times I'm going to be wrong. There's times that there's guys that played college, NFL, you name it, they're wrong. I mean, even the whole debate that we were listening to, Deion Sanders versus who was it? What's his name? The other cornerback, about the whole, the getting out your break thing. I'm drawing a blank, man. Asante Samuel, right? Is that who it was?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Even that whole thing, like, bicycle out of it or T-plant. Like, there is a perfect example. Like, you're seeing two different techniques, two different really, really talented and really productive football players arguing about which one's right and all that stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, they both had, Deion, obviously Hall of Fame career. I'd say Asante Samuel with his stats, definitely Hall of Fame worthy at some point. But you get what I'm saying.
I do, but it's like, again, like it's not about like being right or wrong or even like having an opinion. It's more so just like seeing things in black and white. Like, you could be wrong about something, but you also won't just like, nope, this is the only factor. This is why we lost. This is this person, this individual right here is the sole reason. And until we get better at this individual, like, we won't win anything. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you wrong about a play call or what we should have did, like, all right, that's one thing.
Right.
But you also won't look at it in like one aspect of it because it's so much that kind of happens. Like, I think in every sport.
Yeah, well, I think that's more of a personality thing, Ricky. I think just a lot of people have egos; they don't want to be wrong. I think, fortunately, I have the emotional intelligence to understand that I'm never going to be right. There's a lot of stuff I don't know, even though I feel like I know a lot, even about a certain thing that I study a lot. A lot of people, though, they don't want to hear that. It's their way. What they think is right, but that's just where we live in. So I just have learned to adjust to it. Yeah.
That sounds just like politics. And you would make a bad politician, man. Like, I'm just telling you.
Who, me?
Oh, absolutely.
How? Wait, I feel like I'd be a good politician. I feel like I feel like I'm pretty stern, but at the same time, I'm very fair. What do you mean, Ricky? I feel like they used to call me Barack in college. They call me Barack, man.
That's the thing. You be too fair, and like you be like, oh, you know what? When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know, like, politicians don't think that way, man. Like, they kind of.
But that's what we need. No, but see, that's what we need, man. No, we need somebody that. I mean, I feel like I'd be a man for the people. I don't think I could endure all that stress. So people stress me out, man. Yeah, for the people. Yeah, true.
Exactly. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, Ricky. Be easy, man. Oh man, good stuff. All right, we got to hit a timeout. Appreciate Ricky all the way in the West Coast chatting it up with us on this Monday. Once we hit the top of the hour break, we come back. We can go back to the phone lines. You got Marty on hold. We'll get to him. Plus, as you can see on the stream here, we've got these guys here training out in Vegas. We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, all that and more coming up right here on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's see. I don't even know who all is in this picture. Do you guys know who's all in this picture? I mean, I can name most of the guys from Alabama, but some of these dudes from the Raiders, I have no idea who it is. I mean, let's start from left to right. I'm assuming Raiders. Wait, can you guys see my mouse? Oh, wait, I don't think it's showing up on the stream. Anyway, from left to right, Raiders, don't know. Does anybody know who that is? Far left? Obviously, Austin Mack. Geno Smith that's Geno Smith next to Austin Mack. He looks kind of different right there, though. I don't know why he's standing like that. Keelan Russell next to him. That's Meadows, right? Tall dude, the white gloves. I'm pretty sure that's Meadows next to Keelan. Who else we got? This guy at the Raiders, I don't know. Isaiah Horton, Ty Simpson, Jeremy Bernard. These two that look like brothers, one with the white hat or cap. Not too sure. And then this guy wearing the Alabama Pro Day shirt. Does anybody know who that is? I don't know who that is. Regardless, pretty cool stuff that they're working out with Geno Smith and some of the guys from the Raiders. And I think Meadows is from Las Vegas, so. But Ty Simpson's been all over the place with this break. He was in Dallas with Tyler Booker, and now he's out in Vegas. These guys are living life, man. I don't know who. Does anybody know who this is on the far right? And dude's pretty built, man. I don't even know what position dude plays. He don't like a receiver. Wait, is that? Wait, hold on. Wait, though. Hold on. Let me see. Does anybody in the chat know who that knows? Does anybody know who that is in the far right chat? Anybody? Let me pull something up. Hold on. Let me see. Is that Rico Scott? Oh, I guess you're right. All right. Thank you, chat. Thank you. I was like, hold on. I just pulled him up. I'm like, hold on. Why does he look so big right there? Oh, wait, let's see. Can y'all see this? Yeah. I mean, that's his. Hold on. What they got him listed as? 6 foot 195 on here. Hold on. Let's go back and forth. Hold on. What the hell has that dude been eating? Bro, that dude does not look like he's playing receiver right now. That is Rico Scott, though. You're right. Appreciate it, Frederick and Marquetta. Thank you, guys. Damn. Hey, man, that's my dark horse pick for being like a standout guy at receiver. I get that there's a lot of guys in that room, but man, I hope he gets some valuable reps this season. And that way, the following year, I mean, Bernard's probably gone. Horton's gone. Then next year, I know we're looking way ahead, but I think him, Ryan Williams, Meadows guy, and even Latzia Brooks, man, I think you should have back-to-back years with a really, really nice receiver room. Plus, Keelan Russell, probably his turn. It's Bama offense. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We look like we might have a we might have a squad on offense for the next couple of years for sure. It's definitely exciting. I think defense should be solid too. We got some good young players on defense too. Let's see. We got Mike, Marty on the phone lines. All right. Let's see. Any other big news going on, you guys, that we haven't hit? Or anything that's been being talked about? If so, let me know. I didn't really have anything other than stuff we've hit, plus obviously softball, baseball tomorrow. You got the SEC tournament. I haven't seen anything else, so.
And I want to tell you about our great friends over at Brian Harding Construction. Located in the heart of Tuscaloosa, Brian Harding Construction is woman-owned and strong as steel, a specialty manufacturing firm with expertise in structural steel fabrication, ASME code piping and vessels, CNC machine work, welding, laser cutting, pipe fitting, industrial maintenance, and crane rentals. With a proven track record of over 30-plus years of experience, no one is better fit for the job. For an evaluation, contact Brian Harding Construction today at 205-752-9611. Again, that's Brian Harding Construction at 205-752-9611.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Partly sunny this afternoon. Only isolated showers or storms through tonight. The high today 88, the low tonight 70. Tomorrow a small chance of a shower during the day. Thunderstorms arrive tomorrow night, and those storms could be severe. The high 88. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 83 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing great. Hope everybody is having a good time hanging out with us here on the Miller's Edge. We've been talking a number of things. Just got done talking with Ricky. Good conversation there. But we were talking a little bit about, philosophies about, I guess, criticizing these coaches. But before that, we talked about this new documentary that's coming out, All In, covering Alabama football's spring football period. It drops tonight, 6 p.m. Central Time, I believe, on SEC Network. So if you guys are interested, we played the trailer. It looked pretty good. It definitely seemed very interesting. So if you guys are interested, you can check that out tonight. Plus, right now we're checking out this photo here. Austin Mack shared it. It looked like the guys met up with Geno Smith and some of those Raiders receivers and got some good working out in Vegas as they are on their break, about to come to a close here in about a week or so. But we're looking at this picture, man. I'm not gonna lie. Rico Scott, he's at the far end. I didn't even recognize him. Dude looks built right there, man. The dude's solid. I thought he was a damn linebacker, and I was like, what's our linebacker doing out there? But sure enough, it was Rico Scott. So there you go. But definitely cast of guys. You got Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, Ty Simpson, so all the quarterbacks, Derek Meadows, Isaiah Horton, Jeremy Bernard, and Rico Scott. So shout out those guys and Geno Smith and company. Really good stuff. Let's go back to the phone lines, Chase. 205-342-9904 to kick off hour number 2. Next up, we got Marty. Marty, welcome in.
Hey, Christian, how you doing today?
Good, Marty. What's going on? Appreciate you waiting, man.
We had bad storms here. If you get what we got over a weekend that's coming that way, it's going to be bad.
Really? Man,
Yeah,
is
it's hard.
everything all right? Is everything all right?
I didn't get it too bad this time, but a lot of my friends did. Trees down, a few tornadoes and stuff like that, but more trees down and roads closed. That's just bad storms. We've had more bad storms this year than any year. It's hard for the farmers to get the crops in. That's all. But I don't want to talk about that. But I'm doing good.
Well,
At least
good.
I
I'm
didn't
glad.
lose my roof on the last month. We lost our roof on the last tornado. But I want to talk quarterbacks today, okay?
Yeah, let's talk about
I
it.
did my homework for you. I got about 5 things to talk about, so I got a subject for every day. Tomorrow you
Good
won't
deal.
be on but people want to always fire coaches, and we got to give the softball team credit for getting to another regional, even though they got a bad draw and have to play Oklahoma. But you got to be the best. So that's what they got to do. But that's a story for another day too. I want to talk quarterback and an owner. One owner that I think he thinks his God, I don't know what word to use. I'll just say his ignorance gets in his way, and that's why he paid his quarterback the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, just to say that he could do it.
And who's that you're talking about?
Prescott, Drake.
Oh, Jerry
Prescott.
Jones and Dak Prescott.
And he ain't worth that much. He ain't one of the top 18 in the. He's been there 10 years. What has he really done? And then
he's put up some decent numbers. Problem is, postseason play seems to play him.
Decent numbers. Anybody's gonna have decent numbers, but you got to look at it. You pay the quarterback that much. What are you gonna put around him? A bunch of scrubs that he's got right now? I mean, that's why Mahomes took a salary cut, and that's what irrelevant at San Francisco can put around him, because they don't have to pay him a lot, because he was irrelevant to start with, and look, he might be the franchise quarterback for the next 10 years.
True. Yeah, I'm looking at this here. You got Dak Prescott, average salary of $60 million, highest paid quarterback. Number 2 on the list, you've got a 4-way tie of Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Jordan Love, all at $55 million. 6 is our very own Tua Tagovailoa, 53.1. Jared Goff and Brock Purdy, who just got signed. Brock Purdy, 49ers just signed him to a new deal. $53 million. Justin Herbert, 52.5, and Lamar Jackson at 50.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, pay that quarterback. You pay that quarterback so much, you can't put nothing around them.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is tough to get more weapons. I mean, yeah, no, you got a point. You got a point. I think the craziest thing is you don't even see Pat Mahomes on that list. That's the craziest thing.
Something for you since you played, all right?
Yeah, what's going on?
Does quarterbacks make the coach, or the coach make the quarterback?
Oof. That's a good question.
And
I mean,
I'm talking about is like Belichick and Brady,
yeah,
Montana and Welch, Mahomes and I can't think of his name now. The coach
Andy Reid. That's a really good question, Marty. Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, looking at a couple of the examples, right? I mean, immediately when you hear coach and quarterback, you think of Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. I would argue in that situation, I mean, I think it's always going to be a mutually beneficial relationship. Sometimes it's going to favor one or the other. I mean, you look at that one. One might argue Tom Brady was, the heavier contributor there just because he went on and won another Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, Belichick seemed to struggle a little bit once he left. But I would argue that Belichick, I mean, if you look at those defenses that he was producing, I mean, like those defenses were a huge part of the success that they've had. So you can't sit there and deny that. Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes, that situation. Obviously, man, Pat Mahomes is that guy. Andy Reid, I want to say, also has won a Super Bowl elsewhere prior to Pat Mahomes. So, I mean, but I think that one's close because you look at Andy Reid and his play design. I mean, Andy Reid is an offensive guru, man. Like if you don't have some of those play calls that Andy Reid had in those big moments, especially like in the Super Bowl moments, I mean, one could argue they might not necessarily win. So that's a really tough question. I think it kind of goes situation by situation. If I had to give you an answer on that, but I think it varies. I mean, you look at Nick Saban, right? All the success that he's had, he was able to win national championships with all different types of quarterback, from Greg McElroy, AJ McCarron, guys who are good quarterbacks, but I wouldn't necessarily say they were the most elite. And I'm not knocking those guys. Those guys had hell of a career, right, respectively. But what I'm getting at is they weren't necessarily, number one rated high school quarterbacks, or they didn't like go first round, top picks like a Bryce Young. You get what I'm saying? And Coach Saban was able to win with all those guys. Crazy enough, he didn't win one with Bryce Young as a starting quarterback. So in that situation, you get what I'm saying? It's kind of hard, and I think it varies, but that's a really good question. Somebody in the chat, Southern wrote Coker. Like, look at Jake Coker. He led us to a national championship in 2015. Coker was a damn good quarterback, but, Coker went undrafted. Coker, I don't think, was like the top high school quarterback prospect. So one could argue that, it was more of the coach in that situation, but I would even argue, I love Coker. I'll go to bat for him any day, man. Forget where he got drafted or what he was ready to come out of high school. That dude was a dog, man. And if I could have a team and I could choose a quarterback, man, I'd build him like Coker, man. Big, strong, tough guy, but between the eyes, smart, calculated, and when you talk about had grit, when Coker ran that dude over, I think was it Mississippi State or whatever it was, or Texas A&M, he didn't go out of bounds. He ran that dude over. That gave us everything we needed to know about him.
Oh yeah. But that's stuff I got on the table too for other day. Because there's two quarterbacks. Now your dad probably know more about him than you, but that's all right. I'm just saying the old school quarterback. If the games change, I wonder if one goes in the Hall of Fame and the other one's in the Hall of Fame and one's not. But I just wonder if he wins the game. And I'll talk to you about that tomorrow or next time we can get on the air.
Yeah,
I want to know your opinion.
Well, tell me, Marty, real quick. I want to get your thoughts. I'm curious. What do you think about the quarterback versus the coach?
It's Don Meredith. It's Don Meredith and Bart Starr. Don Meredith was drafted by the Bears in 1960. The Papa Bear Hollis wanted to give. They said Dallas has got to start their league in 1960. So Papa Bear Hollis said, "We've got to give Dallas a quarterback." They gave him Don Meredith.
Mm-hmm.
Just gave it to him. Said, "Here, we got to keep our fans because the AFL's coming in and we don't want to lose our fan base." All right. So he didn't have a great 5 years, but he gets into the championship game in 1966 as first and goal on the 4-yard line. He doesn't score. They brush everybody and throw a pass. It gets intercepted. The next year, he gets into the championship game again. Defense can't stop him. They get him in the ice bowl. They get down. Green Bay gets down there 4th and 1. Vincent Barty calls timeout. He says, "We know the play. Go right over that right guard, Bart Starr, and you will score." He goes over that right guard. He puts him in the cuckoo land, and he scores. Meredith gets criticized for not winning them two. Bart Starr goes on to win 2. And I think Dallas could have won the first 2 Super Bowls if they would have got there, but they lost those 2 games. Bart Starr goes in the Hall of Fame. Don Meredith the next year loses to Cleveland Browns, which I like them with Leroy Kelly and them. and then he was 30 years old, and he retires and goes in the booth. And and he's not in the Hall of Fame, but Bart Starr gets in there. I think if you flip flop the 2 games around, Don Merritt may get in the Hall of Fame, and Bart Starr don't. That's just like Joe Namath. I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame if he don't win the Super Bowl.
It's an interesting point, yeah. It's a fair point. I'd have to look at his numbers. I'll be honest. I don't know his numbers off the top of my head. But anytime you win a Super Bowl, it's definitely going to give you an argument to make the Hall of Fame. I will say that. A lot of those guys do have that in common.
But you look at Don Merritt. Look up his stats, and he was good for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna look him up during this break. That is interesting though. But that question's a very interesting one. I'm gonna ask my dad his thoughts on that too. But I think, like I said, I think it really varies on the.
That's why I want to go to lunch with you. There's so much on the table I want to talk to you about because you know so much. Your dad knows all history. That's just like the New England or the Boston Patriots.
Well, don't worry. I mean, the good news is, Marty, you can call us anytime you feel the need, man, and we can always discuss it too. Until we set up that lunch date, which we'll do soon. Next time you're in town, man.
But it's just like the Boston Patriots. Back in the day, they had to play at Fenway Park. They were bad. Everybody was listening to the Giants. That's how I heard about Frank Gifford, because no one liked the Boston Patriots. Well, Solomon bought them, and he built them a stadium, and that's how they got good, and they still call that. Then he sold them to Kraft, and Kraft wouldn't build a new stadium in Boston, so he moved to Foxborough and took them to another level. But look at the history of some of those NFL, of the AFL teams. If it wasn't for the owner of Kansas City and the owner of Oakland, they never would have made it. But they had to pay a lot of the salaries to the players because the other teams are so broke. Like the one guy said, one team didn't even know how to put on their socks.
Dang. Yeah, that.
So, I mean,
yeah, no, it definitely makes a difference. But Marty, we're going to hit this timeout real quick, man. We appreciate you. Look forward to talking to you next time. Good deal. All right, we got a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling right here on this Monday edition of Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. All right, let's see what we got. We got Mike up next. If you guys are just getting in here, welcome in. If you haven't already, drop us a like. That always helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't. Again, we do the show Monday through Friday, 11 to 1. We are live on the radio, and we're just streaming simultaneously. So we're on a commercial break right now. If you guys got anything you want us to hit or cover, man, always drop that in the comment section. We love to discuss things that are of interest to you. I don't know what else really going on. Obviously, you got SEC baseball tournament kicking off tomorrow, which we won't be live on the radio. Maybe we'll hop on here for a little bit. If something comes up or there's something to talk about, we definitely will. But with that game, we won't be live on the radio. I'm trying to see what else. That's a good question, though. I'll be honest, with football, man, there's so many people involved. It's so hard for me to just always just put it on one person, man. Coach, player, it's hard for me to do that. I mean, especially thinking about the teams that I played on that were successful. I mean, and maybe that's different just because we were so stacked, but I don't even think I could just single out one guy that I felt like, well, let me take that back. Damn, I should have thought about this. What do you guys think about this? If you take Coach Saban away, but we had the same talent, that's a hell of a question right there. Chase, I just thought about that. Maybe we need to throw that one out there. How much? Yeah, we got some time to talk about that. I'm gonna throw that one out there. Do you think we still have that same level of success here in Tuscaloosa from 2007 to 2020? Okay, coach retired in 2024, but you get what I'm saying. Do you feel like we have that same success if you take Coach Saban and put somebody else there? Or at least close to it. Obviously, I'm not going to say that same success, but we'll say close, right? I mean, now remember, Not only did Coach Saban win 6 national championships here, but he also went to, how many did he go to? Let me think. Because I played him 4 straight, and we lost 2 of those. So if he won 6, you go ahead, you can add. Actually, he lost what, 3 here? So that means he played in 9 national championship games. Am I getting that right, chat? Damn, that's a good talking point. Let's see. Let's use AI because it works so fast, right? Matter of fact, let's try this AI right here. Where's it at? Is that it? Yeah, here it is. Let's see it. Damn, we're about to come back. Hold on. Yeah, Kenji says no. We're about to find out.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Partly sunny this afternoon, only isolated showers or storms through tonight. The high today 88, the low tonight 70. Tomorrow, a small chance of a shower during the day. Thunderstorms arrive tomorrow night, and those storms could be severe. The high 88. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 85 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Support Experts. Just spoke with Marty from Arkansas. He posed a really interesting question. Who's more responsible for the success of a team, the quarterback or the coach? Let me say this. During the break, I was kind of just rambling to the chat here on YouTube. And I just thought about this. Here's a good question to throw out there. And I want you guys to respond, whether it's phone lines, app message, or here in YouTube. Going off of that and building off of that, let's look at Alabama, for example, right? Nick Saban coached in 9 national championship games while he was here at Alabama, winning 6 of them. Here's the question, though. If you remove Coach Saban but keep the talent the same, everything else is the same with the talent. The team is the same. But you remove Coach Saban, do you still see that same level of success? Like that's another example where I would argue that the coach might have been, but see, I don't know if I would say it was more important, Chase, but obviously Coach Saban was like one of the main pieces, right? So in that situation, you lean more towards the coach. But if you're talking about Belichick and Brady, the argument is a little bit different because Brady went on to go win a national championship, or excuse me, not national championship. Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. But God, man, that's definitely interesting. I want you guys to think about that and drop y'all's responses. Kenji already told us no, she doesn't think so. She doesn't think you see that same level of success. Southern says we're about to find out. Talent, I would say talent is a little bit different now than it was during that time, but you're right. We will find out. Can Kalen DeBoer or anybody other than Nick Saban have that type of success? We'll find out soon. But we also going to find out what Mike has to say because we're going back to the phone lines. 205-342-9904 is number. We got our buddy Mike up in New York. Mike, welcome in.
Hey, what's going on, Captain? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm great. Mike, how are you?
Good, man. Coast to coast with me and Ricky today. A couple of average Bama guys stuck in these crazy blue states up here. So
I mean, we're in California today. We went to Arkansas with Marty. Then we're up in New York. I mean, we're just taking a whole tour of the country today.
Everywhere. Well, first, I hope these storms pass you guys by first and foremost. So hope you guys are okay with all this stuff coming through. Second of all, the Vegas trip that you were talking about with those guys, one thing that jumps out at me is you got a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-old kids with a pocket full of NIL money going out to Vegas, and nobody got in trouble.
That's how I know you've got kids, Mike. That's definitely a dad thought for sure. But no, you're 100% right. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. As we know now, I mean, everything seems to be good. That's actually a really good point, man. It's good that they're obviously out there training. I mean, I'm sure some of these guys are over the age of 21, so they probably could find themselves in some places that probably aren't the best places to be, but it looks like they're locked in there. I'd hope so. But yeah, it's a really good point, man. God is good. We haven't heard anything negative so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ricky was talking about with fans and coaches. I think to answer your question with Saban and the talent, I think if we had the assistant coaches helping, like if we had like a Kirby and a Sark on the team, or Kirby and Kiffin on the team to pick up for, I think we have the same level. Not to take anything away, obviously, from Coach Saban, but
no, that's a fair point. No, I mean, I respect the point. I mean, obviously, they're really good coaches. I mean, what year was it? Oh, well, it was COVID year. He couldn't coach. What game was it, though? That he tested positive for COVID, he couldn't coach. Technically, they went out there.
It was the Iron Bowl.
Oh, yeah, it was Iron Bowl, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got the job done. Yeah. I don't know if we could sustain that, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So one winning by 1 or 100, who cares? Against those guys is what it is. But
absolutely.
Players in the coach. It's funny how with the fans, like Ricky was talking about, wanting coaches fired and all this other stuff. But it's always like after the fact that they, throw their opinion in. It's always after the play's over. Well, why didn't he punt it? I would have punted it. Or when the game's over, why didn't we run the ball more? Or when the season's over, we should have done this more. Everybody's an expert after the season's over. But, if it was that easy, these guys wouldn't be spending all these hours, in film room and all that other stuff like that. So, I don't know.
That's why I threw out too, Mike, that people have to remember, like, there's reasons for, it's not just always, oh, he's calling that because that's what he likes to do. Normally there's like something else, right? Normally they're seeing something. Maybe because again, you got to remember, they're literally breaking down these opponents, not just the week of the game, but like, for instance, like during the spring, they're already previewing that opponent during camp. You'll kind of, look ahead a little bit, and then obviously leading up to that game. So when they've watched tape, they're seeing tendencies and things from that team that make them feel comfortable calling certain things. Because you go into a game with a certain game plan, right? It's not like you just go into a game. I don't know if everybody knows this. I would hope people have an idea about this, but if you did, and this is a real thing, your playbook might be, we'll just say like going into a game, you're only probably calling maybe like a third of your playbook, if that. You get what I'm saying? At least like with Coach Saban's defense. I can't tell you how many plays that we had in that system that we would go into a game and we'd have X amount of third down calls, X amount of base calls, first, second down. I mean, like, we would be calling like a very limited % of what we actually ran, because the coaches, they would put stuff in, they'd see how it looked during the week in practice, and then they would start eliminating stuff like, all right, we don't want to run that. We don't want to run that. That being said, sometimes the reason these coaches are doing certain things is because that's just what they had on the game plan. Now, I will say this, though. The difference between a good coach, a great coach, elite coach, the great and elite coaches, they're going to adjust and adapt. And that's what Coach Saban and his staff always did really well at. We would have certain things put in, Mike, going into a game. But what would happen? These teams would come out and do some stuff we'd never seen that we didn't prep for. Why? Because they knew that was one of the only ways they'd have a real advantage on us. They couldn't match up with us physically. So they would come in there and they would do things that we didn't prep for. So what would our coaches have to do? We'd have to go to the drawing board at halftime, and we'd have to adjust and adapt. Hence, sometimes you'd see us kind of look like we come out slow. Sometimes that was physically induced, but other times it was because a team came out with something that we didn't really prep for. But then once we adjusted and adapted to it, we were straight. I think that's one thing that you got to remember. Like, you can point out which coaches are really good coaches and the ones that, yeah, they're all right, because the really good ones, they're quick on their feet. They can adjust. And like Coach Saban and his staff was always one of the best at doing that, man. And that's what really helped us in those moments. We didn't panic because we knew we could just trust Coach Saban to kind of help us out and give us something that would, because I'm telling you, when we, like, for example, like Sark is a smart dude and he knows how to attack you. And unfortunately, I don't think we adjusted great in that game, but that's the type of stuff you have to be prepared for when you're a team like Alabama, when people, were intimidated, because they would try to just throw stuff at you that they knew would cause problems. And then it's like chess match. It's like a chess match between the coaches.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason those other schools pay, those guys, what millions of dollars to do what they do. They're going to come up with something. I mean, they're going to find something, some wrinkle or something like that. So, absolutely. Hey, while we were talking about the Vegas thing, let me ask you a question. So, like, they had this whole thing in baseball with Pete Rose getting back eligible for the Hall of Fame. What's your stance on if somebody on your team or somebody in the league was maybe gambling, and it could be maybe they were gambling on their own sport or maybe just gambling outside. I mean, do players have a different line in the stand? Because it seems like some guys are like, absolutely not, he doesn't belong, and other people are saying, who cares? So I don't know. So
it's a good
what's
question.
your thoughts on all that stuff?
If you're talking about just gambling, I'll say this, man. See, I'm not like a gambler myself, so I mean, it doesn't really. I'm not an expert, but what I'll say is, my opinion. If I had a teammate doing it, as long as they weren't like betting things that could potentially come off like they were intentionally doing stuff to affect the game, I don't see how it's the biggest issue. Obviously, it's unethical if it's going against the rules. Anytime you break rules, you're doing something unethical. So I'm not encouraging it. But what I'm getting at is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Pete Rose was ever like doing anything where he was throwing games. I think he just was betting. Now, I could be wrong because this was a little bit before my time, but from what I had read on it, I always was under the impression that he just was like, say he bet on his team, but he was probably betting that they would do good. I'm assuming it's not like he was saying, I'm going to bet against us and then throw the game. That to me, obviously, I mean, that heck no. But like, for example, these situations where we see like guys in the NFL, they get caught for having like a sports book app, which, I mean, really, you see Prize Picks, you see all these betting services, all these commercials for it. Now they allow you to do all that on the convenience of your smartphone. If a guy's like betting on NBA games or even say like betting on another football game, I just know, I'm just telling you, it's not like they're like, oh, let me call my homeboy who plays for the Cowboys. Tell me what y'all got for this, so I'm going to put it. No one's probably, the guys that got caught typically are just like fooling around because they're bored. And they're just trying to bet for, I guess, the pleasure of it. So personally, like, I wouldn't be like, oh man, I don't want anything to do with that guy. Obviously, I would be like, you knew what you signed up for. If you get in trouble, obviously you shouldn't be doing that. But I wouldn't think something like that should, like, I guess, completely stain their whole, I don't know, I guess, career, stuff like that. As long as it wasn't, you get what I'm saying? As long as it wasn't like unethical or like throwing games or betting against your own team and then going out there and performing a certain way. If it's just simple like, hey man, I'm confident in our team. Like, I like our team. Like, say like for us at Alabama, I felt every time we stepped on the field, I felt we were going to win the game. So if I were to say, and I never did this, but I'm saying, say I were to bet like, oh, I think we're going to go out there and beat Ole Miss. I'm not going to change anything I'm doing. I'm just going to go out there and play my game because I expect us to beat them. Like, if somebody on my team was betting that we were going to beat a team, I wouldn't be bothered by that other than, hey, man, you're putting yourself at risk of getting in trouble, which would then mean you could not play, which could then affect the team. That's kind of that's my stance on it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I look at gambling like, people get hung up in it and get in a bad spot, and it's addictive. It's definitely addicting. It ruins a lot of people's lives. It's like drugs and alcohol, and we know there's, people that I don't know, for some reason some of these old school ball players have these, and I don't care if they put Rose in or not, So, but I think a lot of these old school ball players just, when it comes to gambling, like, hell no. Well, I mean, Mickey Mantle played drunk half the time. He could have tripled his stats. He's in the Hall of Fame. You're okay with that? Well, yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. I mean,
yeah,
that's too. I mean, alcohol's addicted. But
yeah. I looked it up, and it's saying online here, Mike, that Pete Rose was he accepted that lifetime ban after the investigation revealed he had wagered on games, including those involving his own team. However, there was no evidence that he ever bet against the Reds. So, I'll be honest, man. I mean, to me, I think he's deserving of a spot. He actually spoke to Alabama a few years ago, man. I was, graduated from here, but he spoke to. But we also had a guy like Darryl Strawberry who spoke to us as a team, and the stuff he was telling us that he was doing during the games. I mean, I was like, dude, you sure this was the MLB or was this like some like overseas league? I mean, he was saying he'd be on the mound or not wherever he would be out on the field and see a young lady in the crowd that he thought was attractive. He'd have like security or something, bring her to the dugout so he could, get to know her or something, smoking cigarettes. And it was crazy. I was like, man, it sounds like he's playing a video game. But it was just, I think it just was different time back then, Mike. I mean, those dudes were doing whatever the hell they wanted to do.
I was in Port St. Lucie in the late '80s, early '90s, and saw a lot of those Mets teams. That was their spring training home, and there was a lot of stuff going on in the local papers that somehow never made it nationally. That was going on with him and Gooden, and it's good to see they're cool now. But oh my God, the stats that those guys could have put up, it's just sad, But I don't know. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard line with gambling. So
I always tell people, man, be smart with that stuff. The only time I really kind of got close, I mean, I guess it technically was gamble, but we did a deal with one of those, like picks apps, and so they gave us some money to gamble with, and I definitely, like, I'm not gonna lie to you, it was fun, but I could totally see how if you're not disciplined, it can definitely get a hold of you quick because you just keep thinking like, oh, okay, it's going to hit this next time. Oh, it's next time. And when you're so close, like it's one of those things where you put picks in, and I would be like, man, I missed about like one pick. So I want to do it again. And then I realized I'm like, yeah, you definitely got to take this serious and be very careful because it is very easy to fall into that.
They got a lot of counselors in high schools now. The kids with the fantasy football and all the other stuff getting into it.
Oh yeah, that too.
You can get in a lot of trouble. Yeah, so they see the easy money and they can get in a lot of trouble. That happens to the best of them, I guess. But
that's true.
Anyway, again, stay safe with all those storms down there, everybody, and we'll talk at you later.
Sounds good, Mike. We appreciate you, man. Be safe.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Good deal. Our buddy Mike from New York, man. Chase, we're just taking a whole world tour today, man, because when we come back, looks like we're going to Tennessee. A little bit closer, but still outside of Alabama. We'll talk with Ellis, plus we got Tommy. We'll bring it on home to Alabama after that, too. All that coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. All right, let's see.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Daryl Strawberry or heard his story, but he spoke to us. Forgot what year it was, man, but stuff he was telling us what was going on back in the day in MLB. Crazy. Let's see what you guys have been saying. I don't think Bama gets the same tier of recruits year after year without Coach Saban and his success. Would you have come without Coach Saban? That's a good question. Man, let me put myself back there. I mean, Alabama first started recruiting me after my sophomore year. It was Coach Rump, defensive line coach. It was during the summer going into my junior year. I remember that, and I just remember like, oh, man, Alabama's here. Alabama's coming to recruit me. And obviously, the significance of it was mostly due to the success of the program. I mean, Alabama was the face of college football. Did I get that same level of excitement when Virginia Tech, because they were one of the first schools to recruit me, came to my school? No. So, I mean, let's take Coach. I mean, that's hard to answer, Kenji, because it's like if you take Coach Saban out of it, I don't know if we still had that. Say, okay, let's hypothetically look at it like this. Let's say Coach Saban wasn't the coach; it was a different coach, but they still were pretty successful. See, I think it was a success. Well, no, but Coach Saban definitely played a part for sure. That's a really good question. I'm just trying to think like if it was like Kirby as a head coach instead of Coach Saban. I definitely still would have considered Alabama, but I also was considering factors like scheme. Like I really wanted to play in a 3-4 defense because I knew that fit my skill set. Plus, I like the fact that it wasn't like too far from where I'm from. It was like far because I didn't want to stay in South Carolina. I wanted to kind of branch out a little bit, but I didn't want to go too far. So Alabama was kind of like a nice sweet spot. My final two schools were Georgia and Alabama. I was this close to going to Georgia. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I really was about to go to Georgia. I was really, really close to going to Georgia with Mark Richt. Love Mark Richt, man. You talk about just a great dude, really good dude. Obviously, I'm really, really happy that I came to Alabama, but man, it was close. But that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, if Coach Saban wasn't here, it probably would have been a little bit
at 205,
a little bit more difficult of a decision. But I did like Alabama
at 205, 75.
But you're right, though. Most recruits so is
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope everybody is doing well. We've been going on our little world tour here on the phone lines. We've been talking with everybody from everywhere, right? California, Arkansas, New York, and now we're about to head down to Tennessee. But first, let me remind you about our friends over at R&R Cigars. Again, if you guys are in the market for the best cigars that you can find, the best humidor in the Southeast, you got to check out R&R Cigars, where you can get 20% off of any 20 cigars. Build your perfect selection, mix and match any 20 cigars for that deal, plus free shipping on orders $100 or more. If you're in Tuscaloosa, even better, you can go check out the mansion. They've got the humidor right there, cigars galore. Plus, if you're looking to have a nice drink, sit down, relax, chat with some folks there, watch some sports, well, look no further than R&R Cigars. They've got over 160 bourbons that you can try from, 160 bourbons. So if you're talking about a place to hang out, relax, watch sports, man, you can't beat it. Cigars, over 160 bourbons, big TVs, nice porch. The weather's great. Go take advantage of it at R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street, Oregon, rnrcigars.com, where you can get all these great deals, 20% off of any 20 cigars that you bundle. Again, that is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. All right, Chase, the next stop is going to be Tennessee, where we talk with Ellis. But real quick, in the chat, we've been having this conversation. We're talking about, Marty brought up the great question, quarterback versus coach, who gets more of the credit. Well, it's made me start thinking, well, if you remove Coach Saban, I mean, that's a big factor. But obviously the talent is a big deal. I mean, that's why I think it varies by the situation. But Yakenji was asking, would I have come here if Coach Saban wasn't here? And the answer was, I mean, I still think I really would have considered Alabama, but it was a combination of the success with Alabama being the face of college football with the success that they've had, but also being able to be coached by Nick Saban. But I would say, say Coach Saban left and then the next coach took over, but still demonstrated that success. Say Coach Saban had left before I got here, but the next coach still had won. I definitely still would want to come to Alabama just because I viewed it as the program as a whole. Coach Saban was a huge piece of that, but also the history, even going back to Bear Bryant, being able to say, hey, man, I played at Alabama. I'll be honest with you. Somebody else, Gray Gamer, also says DeBoer's been getting top 3 classes, some good 5-stars, Ryan Williams, John Lee, Keelan Russell. And I would argue, one thing that definitely helps him out, and I'm not taking credit from Kalen DeBoer and his staff because they're doing a phenomenal job. They're doing a really good job. He's got a really nice team. They all know their role and they do a great job. But I also would say I think the brand has really been holding up, which is a really good thing. I think there's a lot of concern initially when Coach Saban left, but that's why I used to always, butt heads with my dad and tell him, hey, man, kids still see that A and they respect that A. Give you an example. We just heard Isaiah Horton talk on that preview. What did he say? Oh, Bama is the standard. People want to go to Bama. They're expecting something. He's still making those comments even with Coach Saban gone. Why? Because of the foundation that was built in that brand. These kids still – I don't care what you say. Coach Saban is gone, but if a coach wears an Alabama A on his vest, on his shirt, whatever it may be, and he goes to recruit a kid, he goes and sits at a spring practice, all those kids are freaking out. I don't care what you say. I know that for a fact. So that definitely is good that the brand is still branding. All right, let's go to the phone line. Chase, if we can, let's combine this last break since we we're a little shuffled on this schedule, and we'll hit Ellis and we'll hit Tommy and we'll wrap things up. But first up, we're going to Tennessee. We got Ellis. Ellis, welcome in.
Tommy Thunder.
Tommy Thunder. Is that a new nickname for him?
That's a nickname that he's got, so you'll have to ask him about that.
I will. I definitely will. What's going on, Ellis?
Not much. Just work. I gotta go finish up a boat. I'm cleaning.
Dang. How big of a boat is it? What kind of boats are we talking, Ellis? Are we like how big of a boat?
It's a big pleasure boat.
I got you.
I've got to polish it tomorrow. Got to get it ready for this weekend.
Yeah, man. I was about to say, I know that's a lot of work, man. A boat is not easy to clean.
No, it's not.
Let alone polish. Yeah, let alone polish it, man. So shout out to you.
You have to clean underneath it, where the water line is. It's just a big mess. And then all of the places you got hidden places where you store stuff at, it's just unreal. But you're talking about the coaches and players.
Yeah, what do you think about that? Who do you think is more?
If you got good players, you still got to have a good coach to coach them up.
That's true. Very true.
So, I don't think we'd won 6 national championships if Nick Saban hadn't been there.
Well, let's just look at the one with with me here in 2017, second and 26. One could argue that if he don't make that gutsy move to, switch Jalen with Tua, we don't win that championship. I mean, like that's a coaching decision that most coaches probably don't make. You know what I mean? Like, especially in that moment. That's why I was saying that's such a hard question to answer, but it makes you think. It's a really good question because it makes you think. But I will say, I think it really varies situationally. But you can't deny. I mean, Coach Saban, he's always going to put all the praise, but he's always going to put the credit to the players. You hear him time and time again. He always says that. I mean, I don't care how good of a coach you are, you can't do it without the players. And there's a lot of truth to that. But from my player perspective, let me pass it back on to him and say, I don't care how good of a team we were. Without some of the decisions and the coaching that he instilled in us, we wouldn't be the same level of players that we ended up being. So,
right, and like you said, the players saying the standard. Well, they bought into that standard, and the standard has carried on. And I swear I think that standard won't never change. It'll always be like that because it's instilled into them when they go there and play. So
absolutely.
Had a good time with my mother. I didn't get to carry her to Denny Chines because it was raining. And
I forgot
the road blocked out there.
Yeah, this time of year, man, there's always plenty of construction going on, but at least you got to bring her down here, man. But it sounded like it went good besides that, some of that weather and not being able to go everywhere.
Oh, yeah, we got to get out and walk a little bit. Got to walk up to the Walk of Champions. Got some pictures of her standing in front of the statue of Nick Saban and Bear Bryant. And then one standing right out in front of the stadium where it says Saban Field, the University of Alabama, out there next to the road. I got her picture with the stadium in the background. But like I said, it was the first time she's ever been there, and she couldn't believe how pretty it was down there, even though the rain.
That was her first time?
Oh, yeah, she's never been to. Last time she was in Tuscaloosa was before her and my dad had us kids. They went down there to get some auto parts. So I can say that a long time ago, because my dad died when he was 35. So.
Oh, no, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's he died of leukemia when he was 35 years old. I was 9 or 10 years old.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. But then that definitely is a long time, man. That's good that you're able to bring her back.
Oh, yeah, she loved it. She loved it. She couldn't get over how big that the statue of the elephant. She couldn't believe how big it was. So.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool statue, man. Well, did y'all get plenty of pictures?
Oh yeah. I put them on. I put them on my Twitter page.
Let me see if I can go. I'm gonna go check them out for you, man. Go check them out for you. Anything else going on? What do you think about this SEC baseball tournament? We didn't talk about it, but again, we won't be live on radio. Maybe we'll hop on the YouTube stream at the Miller's Edge on YouTube. But what do you feel about that, Ellis? We take on Missouri tomorrow.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be this year, but we'll see. But I'm excited to see what happens, and I'm excited for the young men and the coaches. And then look at the softball. What is it? 20 years in a row they went to the playoffs. Is it the playoffs?
I can't. I know they're going to supers. I don't know the stat, but you're right. They've definitely done a hell of a job. And shout out to Murph. I know last couple of years, people have been a little on them at times, but man, it just goes to show you the consistency is there, and they always find a way. So shout out to him and that team. By the way, I know you're probably you listen on the radio, but we're live on YouTube. I got the picture pulled up of your beautiful mother in front of that Nick Saban statue, man. She had a rain jacket on. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, she had a rain jacket, and she had colors in her hair.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
She asked me, she goes, will I embarrass you if I keep my colors in my hair? And I said, Mama, you're 89 years old. You do what you want to do.
She looks great, man. I'm seeing a picture of you guys right here. Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah. Oh, wait, there she is in front of the sign right there. Y'all made it through the rain, man. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I love it. Man.
Yeah. I'm gonna get her to a ball game here one day. She's never been to a football game.
Yeah, you got to get her down here for sure.
Yeah,
definitely got to get her down.
I'll have to behave, but I'll have to behave, Christian.
Yeah, you got to behave in front of her, man. You can't let her down. She might you're not too old for her to discipline you. Don't forget that, Ellis. Hey, Ellis, I'm gonna
never too old for that.
Never too old for that, man. I'm gonna let Tommy hop on here for a few minutes because we only got about 4 minutes or so left. If you don't mind, man.
Yeah. And Tommy will tell us about that if it was 20 years or what, but he'll know because he's the softball man.
Exactly. That's why I want to hear his thoughts on how it went this weekend and what he expects about Oklahoma. But Ellis, we appreciate you, man, and love the pictures, man. Love the pictures of you and your mom and y'all's visit down here.
Thank you, sir. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide. All right, let's wrap up this World Tour, Chase. Let's head to Alabama. We got Tommy on the line. Tommy, welcome in.
Hey, Preston, how are you today?
Man, I'm great. Tommy, how are you?
I'm good besides my sinuses are acting up. My goodness.
I feel like everybody's getting hit with that right now, man.
Man, I was so stopped up yesterday at the ball game. Hey, we won softball. We have hosted.
What'd you think about that? Was it so? We hosted a regional for 20 straight years. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we hosted the first round for 20 straight years.
Dang, is that a record?
Yeah.
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 Figured. Figured.
Yeah, no matter. I was nervous in the bottom of the seventh after that girl hit that 2-run shot. I'm like, uh-oh. Well,
they would have had to beat us twice, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But you're right, though. I was watching that when she hit that. I said, oh, gosh, come on. Well, first, when our pitcher got hit in the shin, I was like, uh-oh. I was like, can we just close this out, please? And then that's when, right after that, or not long after that, that girl hit that 2-run homer. I was, oh, no, come on. Sure enough, we got up out of there. And now we're headed to face Oklahoma. Tommy, what do you think about that? Obviously, they're a powerhouse, man.
Yeah, but you know what? The University of Alabama softball team have killed Oklahoma dreams more than any other program in the nation. When we won the national championship back in 2012, it was supposed to be Oklahoma. We beat them. They beat us the first game. I can remember Cassie Riley Bosher and Taylor Hunt, the shortstop for Alabama, say, we're going to win this thing. And some of the people out west laughed. Well, they came back and won. 3 years later, Oklahoma came down here for a Super Regional, won the first game of the Super Regional. Somebody said, well, they're going to get the revenge on you. Well, Alabama came and won, and Melissa Runga hit the home run that sealed the deal for us in the second game, and we knocked them out. They was favored to win the national championship. I mean, they were defending back-to-back national championship. No, they won the national championship the year after we beat them, but no. 5 years ago, we beat them in the Super Regional when we was the 8th seed. We pulled a rabbit out of the hat again, and we won. I remember Alabama fans with 10 signs said, 8 is nifty or 8 is great. You know, we played them the very first game they beat us. We played them down. We beat them. And they came back in the third game and beat us, but UCLA played in their clock. We had cost them 3 to 4 national championships. So it'll be the first time we ever played in Norman. But hey, I'm looking forward to it. And like I tell people, we're not scared to play anybody in any sport. Bring it on. It just adds to the legacy and the greatness of the University of Alabama.
No doubt. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. Definitely gonna be a tough challenge, but it'll be good, man. Definitely be good. It'll be a fun one. It'll be a fun one. Where did we go when we played them here? Did we win the series? I know we won at least one.
We beat them in the series. We the only team that we beat them in the series when they were number 2 in the nation. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't remember if we won the series or we just won one game. So I mean, we won the series. Well, good. The only thing that worries me, Tommy, is that sometimes when you get the best of the better team like that, next time you play, it's hard to beat them twice, man, because they're coming back and they got a little bit on their mind. But we'll see, man. Never count our girls out.
I'm gonna be up front. I wouldn't want it no other way. Nobody said, "Oh, you went to won the national championship. Oh, you went to the back door." No, we going to the front door.
Yeah, true. That's one way to put it. Well, we'll definitely keep our eyes on it. Tommy, we appreciate you, man.
All right, hope baseball team do well. If they do well, I won't talk to you the next 2 days. You won't be on.
Yeah, I was about to say we definitely won't be on tomorrow during this time. They will be airing the baseball game, and like you said, if they do good, we won't be on here Wednesday either. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated with that.
All right, man. Have a good one. Roll
you
Tide.
too, Tommy. Roll Tide. All right, that'll do it for us on this Manic Monday edition of the Miller's Edge. Up next, you got T-Town Sports Daily. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day. Again, we won't be on here tomorrow. We will be airing the baseball game, but maybe we'll still hop on and do a YouTube stream, to be determined with that. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of your day, and we'll talk next time we get you guys right here, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art sport experts. See ya.